Celebrity Every Day. Power Rangers released dozens of seasons during the 1990s and the early 2000s, some of which have aged better than others. While Power Rangers' latest season was released in 2023, it is difficult not to associate the franchise with the late 1990s and the early 2000s. The Power Rangers mania that began with MMPR in 1993 evolved into a multimedia franchise that would include multiple series based on several different Super Sentai shows. Most Power Rangers seasons follow the same formula, which itself is based on the structure of Super Sentai. That said, some seasons manage to do things differently, either by raising the stakes of the story or making the characters more complex. There are also a few Power Ranger series that, despite not doing anything innovative, still knew how to play the strengths of that format. The original Power Rangers series holds up incredibly well over 30 years later. There is a reason MMPR is still the most famous Power Rangers season, to the point the franchise continues to release new comic books, toys, and video games based on the original series. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is just silly enough for it to work as a Super Sentai adaptation, with most of its humor landing. The characters are easy to connect with, and the Zyuranger iconography fits that world perfectly. While the vast majority of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers episodes are standalone adventures following a classic Monster of the Week formula, the show also has some great multi-episode arcs. This includes Green with Evil, which famously introduced Tommy Oliver as the evil Green Ranger, as well as The White Light, during which Tommy returned as the White Ranger. MMPR, particularly the first two seasons, are still fun to watch. Power Rangers Zeo had the difficult mission of coming after Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which was already a pop culture phenomenon. As successful as the original series was, there were only so many episodes that Power Rangers could have based on Zyuranger. It was time for a new Super Sentai adaptation, meaning it was also for new costumes and Zords. However, most of the MMPR Season 3 cast returned, making Zeo feel like a proper sequel to the previous show. In many ways, Power Rangers Zeo feels like a more refined version of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. While most of the Rangers are still in high school during Zeo, the characters feel slightly more three-dimensional and are given some fun arcs compared to MMPR. Zeo doesn't have great villains, but seeing Tommy as a Red Ranger and Jason rejoining the team as the Gold Ranger is always a lot of fun, especially for fans of the original show. While Power Rangers in Space is part of the Zordon era and sees the return of MMPR characters like Zordon, Rita Repulsa, and Lord Zed, this was essentially the beginning of a new era for the show. In Space was the first time Power Rangers left Angel Grove, at least partially, with most of the season taking place in outer space. Darker and more ambitious, Power Rangers in Space was unlike anything the show had done before. Keeping the new Turbo crew but adding a new mysterious Red Ranger was a great way to make Power Rangers in Space feel fresh, even though it was a direct sequel to the previous season. The Power Rangers are on a mission to find Zordon and stop Dark Spectre's alliance of evil from taking over the world, meaning the stakes are higher than they have ever been. With a great theme song and some of the coolest characters on the show, Power Rangers in Space is a classic. Power Rangers Lost Galaxy is considered the first season after the end of the Zordon era, meaning it is a great pick for those who want a truly standalone series that doesn't require context from previous episodes. Lost Galaxy features some of the darkest, most mature Power Rangers scenes, including but not limited to the death of a child and the death of a Power Ranger. A very well-written season with great characters, Power Rangers Lost Galaxy remains a fan favorite decades later. For those who like world building, Power Rangers SPD's lore is very fun and continues to be revisited in comic books and video games to this day. The fact that the show's distant future is now our present makes it even more fun to watch it in 2025. Power Rangers SPD also has great villains and some surprising twists, including Rangers changing colors and taking on new positions within the team. While RPM is very different from what one would expect from a Power Rangers show, it is one of the best seasons of the show. Power Rangers RPM has aged well over 15 years later, and while the concept of evil AI taking over has been done in multiple movies and TV shows, seeing this story in the Power Rangers universe is interesting. The last entry in the Disney era, Power Rangers RPM sadly didn't get the love it deserved when it came out, but it has since been more appreciated. 6. Celebrity Every Day. 26.